Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. Well, this morning, Pope Francis added to the official list of the Blessed the Cardinal Stefan Wyszyński, the Primate of Poland, and Mother Elżbieta Czacka, the founder of the Congregation of Franciscan Sisters Servants to the Cross. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions, the ceremony had been delayed by over 14 months. In the meantime, Poland was shocked by its first anti-Catholic riots. To the faithful, it was just another reminder of how one should always fight evil. The Warsaw ceremony was attended by the highest state authorities, headed by President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. Cardinal and Polish Catholic primate Stefan Wyszyński is considered a national hero and often called the Primate of the Millennium. He is credited for ensuring the survival of Polish Christianity in the face of repression and persecution under communist rule between 1945 and 1989. He was imprisoned by the communists for nearly 3 years. Elżbieta Czacka was a Polish Catholic nun who was blind. She was a pioneer in the study of blindness, adapting Polish phonetics into the Braille alphabet, which ultimately became mandated in all schools for the blind since 1934. We've lived to see this day. The Church has new blesseds, Primate of the Millennium, Cardinal Stefan Wyszyński, and Mother Elżbieta Czacka. Today were elevated to the altars. The faithful came to bear witness to their faith in the powerful intercession of Cardinal Stefan Wyszyński and Elżbieta Czacka. Why did you come here? Because my heart tells me that this is where I should be. Salt of the earth. I couldn't have been anywhere else. I came from outside Krakow. I'm a Krakowian. My faith brought me here. A spiritual day. I can't imagine sitting at home. This is a very important event for all Catholics, Christians. It's our duty as Poles, as Catholics, to be here. A great figure for our country, and we just wanted to celebrate it, and we came with the whole family, with 4 children. I grew up at a time when the Cardinal was struggling with the communist authorities, and above all, forming this nation. A beautiful experience. He was a role model for me, for my family. The uncrowned King of Poland. He got us through the communist period. We had this opportunity to meet him as children, and now we are at such a celebration. World-class sopranists came to Warsaw to attend the ceremony. I wanted to sing to honor the memory of Cardinal Wyszyński. This is connected with great emotions. I performed a beautiful piece, Anime Christi, written by Monsignore Frisina from the Vatican, with whom I worked in the United States. It was a great honor for me. And finally, Mozart's Hallelujah. I love this piece. I am very happy to have been here. Due to restrictions due to the coronavirus pandemic, a maximum of 8,000 people could attend the ceremony. In many parishes in Poland, the faithful were able to connect spiritually through a broadcast projected on telebeams inside the church. The Archcathedral of St. John the Baptist in Warsaw's Old Town gathered crowds of believers who wanted to participate in the beatification, at least in this way. A great many people gathered in the cathedral. They occupied their seats since the early morning, and many pilgrimage groups came. You can see the emotion of the beatification. These 2 great intercessors of the Church were united by a common mission to help those in need. They continue this work uninterruptedly, even from the heights of heaven. Pope Francis paid a brief visit, just several hours' drive from Warsaw, to Budapest, Hungary. He presided at the closing Mass of the 52nd International Eucharistic Congress and spoke to the nation's president, János Áder, and the Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán. Later in the afternoon, Pope Francis traveled to Slovakia. It was the first papal trip to Hungary since Pope John Paul II in 1996. This time it lasted only 7 hours. According to observers, the unusually short stay could have been a way to underline the differences the Pope may have with nationalist and anti-immigrant Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. The Vatican said the meeting, which was also attended by the Vatican's top 2 diplomats and a Hungarian cardinal, lasted about 40 minutes. Extend your arms towards everyone. A veiled critique of Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's anti-migrant policies. Orbán is frequently depicting his government as a defender of Christian civilization in Europe and a bulwark against migration from Muslim-majority countries. Francis has expressed solidarity with the migrants and refugees and criticized what he called national populism advanced by governments like Hungary's. He's urged governments to welcome and integrate as many migrants as they can. And after 4 days, the 11th edition of the Warsaw Book Fair came to an end today. This year, due to the still ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the event was held outdoors. Around 200 publishing houses from Poland and abroad organized meetings with authors, panel discussions, and so on to promote new books. The event has been attracting international interest for years. The Czech Republic was the guest of honor, and there are also stalls with Romanian, Scandinavian, Russian, and Spanish literature. You can see that people have been longing for such meetings. You can of course chat online, but it's not the same. I can't replace a face-to-face meeting with a publisher, author, or reader. One of the writers featured was Katarzyna Nowakowska, author of moral and erotic novels under her stage name K.N. Hanner. It's amazing that people come from the other end of Poland. It's a great emotion for me. She can build characters very well. They are multidimensional characters, and therefore her books can be read in many different ways. Above all, you can meet the authors live, talk to them, and get an autograph. Comics, fairy tales, crime, romance, or fantasy. During this year's edition, everyone found something interesting. As every year, the fair was a great opportunity to meet the most popular, well-known, and award-winning authors of Polish and foreign literature. It's very important for me to meet my readers. I'm curious about their opinions on my books. We're visiting for the first time, and now we're going to the children's stand because we want to get them interested in books. You can find out what is worth reading now. There are a lot of interesting books. It's very nice here. Due to the pandemic, the fair was held outdoors for the first time ever. And finally, one of Poland's most famous writers, Stanislaw Lem, was a renowned science fiction author, philosopher, and technology prophet. The year 2021 marks the 100th anniversary of his birth, and it's been devoted to his memory. The year 2021 is designated as the year of Stanislaw Lem, a visionary representative of Polish science fiction, a writer and a futurologist. A century ago, he was born at a townhouse on Brajerowska Street in Lwów. From an early age, he demonstrated curiosity about the world and analytical thinking. At the time, the educational authorities of Poland conducted research into the intelligence quotient among children. It turned out that Stanislaw Lem was the most intelligent young man at that time in the south of the country. Stanislaw Lem is still one of the most popular Polish writers. His books are available in 41 languages with over 30 million copies sold. However, the science fiction genre is misleading. Lem wrote about the human condition confronted with ever-developing technology. He asked fundamental questions. His most outstanding works include Astronauts, Solaris, Tales of the Robots, and the autobiographical High Castle. The asteroid 3836 and the first Polish artificial satellite were named after the writer. Stanislaw Lem retained a childlike enjoyment of the world until his old age. He wanted to know, he wanted to understand how the world is built, how it works, what it has under its lining, what mechanisms are spinning the world. He was interested in it as a philosopher and as a would-be scientist and a writer. This piece is my first interview with Lem. The master spoke in a terribly chaotic way. He changed topics, interrupted sentences. So in order to introduce order, I transcribed the whole interview from a tape, and then I sat with a red pen and combined fragments which fit together. As always, thanks for tuning in this evening. I hope you have a great week ahead.